Disney Plus's two-part Ahsoka debut aired on Wednesday morning. This show centers on the hugely popular Ahsoka Tano, who made her on-screen debut in the 2008 animated feature Star Wars: The Clone Wars. Since she was a young Togruta Padawan under Anakin Skywalker, she has come a long way. Since then, she has made appearances on The Mandalorian and Star Wars Rebels. Fans have felt involved in Ahsoka for 15 years. Are we receiving the emotional gratification we merit, wrapped up in a compelling narrative, and firmly rooted in the larger Star Wars universe? Please be aware that this THG review contains major Ahsoka spoilers before we begin discussing this series, which is set roughly around the year 10 ABY. For the two-part season premiere, for sure, but not for the remainder of the season, we begin with several magnificent starships, both inside and out. The sequel trilogy made it clear that the New Republic existed but did not do much to demonstrate it before eradicating it. The Mandalorian and Ahsoka have now picked up the slack by introducing us to the people, vessels, and organization that succeeded the Galactic Empire. Captain Hale and his ship are escorting a prisoner who initially appeared on The Mandalorian during Ahsoka's cold open. Instead, there is a subliminal reference to the usage of an Imperial shuttle and a long-since used clearance number in Return of the Jedi. It's an Eta-class shuttle this time, from the days before the Empire. Despite the overlay of events, the show sensibly refrains from saying it's an older code. Overusing phrases, particularly memes, can be embarrassing. Captain Hale is not a fool either. He welcomes them with a heavy security escort because he doesn't think these intruders are Jedi. Despite excellent storytelling, one of Andor's few true flaws is that its cast of characters is virtually completely human. Ahsoka disagrees. Even seemingly innocuous characters in the background could be Rodians, protocol droids, or in this instance, a devoted Mon Calamari working for the New Republic. His most recent work consists largely of voiceover. He excels as slick-talking bad guys like Lex Luthor from Young Justice and Norman Osborn from Spider-Man PS4. He portrays a capable and intelligent New Republic captain who, understandably, could not have foreseen the outcome of this. Characters Baylan Skoll and Shin Hati are unfamiliar. Their backstories, names, and orange lightsaber blades are all unknown. They are not con artists, though. Both exhibit skill in dealing out terrible violence while using the Force. Baylan Skoll waits quietly as Shin Hati mercilessly slaughters the security personnel. Additionally, he stops Captain Hale from getting involved. He then executes them. We believe it is fair to state that Kylo Ren was a dud as a villain. Many of his supporters could concur because they don't view him as a villain. His critics merely see him as a pale, feeble imitation. That might have been the point. They won't be Darth Vader, Palpatine, or Asajj Ventress, Baylan and Shin. They're not required to be. They don't have to worry about living up to the expectations of Lord Vader because they are mercenaries and underlings, which gives them room to be intriguing. Watching Baylan decimate these New Republic forces has a bittersweet quality. But it has nothing to do with feeling sorry for those who stand in his way. Ray Stevenson's final role was as Baylan Skoll. Viewers of The Mandalorian will recall Morgan Elsbeth from Season 2, which also marked Ahsoka Tano's debut in a live-action role. This human opponent was notable at the time for having a Beskar spear in her possession. Later, Din Djarin would use that weapon on Moff Gideon. She is the prisoner being transported by the late Captain Hale and his equally tragic crew. When Baylan shows up, Morgan is already giving commands. He appears to be getting paid by her. Following the frigid open, Ahsoka is on the planet Arcana, visiting an old ruin. She has a lead that she previously got from Morgan, and she is following it. To call it a MacGuffin is not to disparage it. These components are present in many of history's greatest tales. The term MacGuffin describes these items perfectly. Naturally, when Ahsoka finds the secret chamber and works out its puzzle, she finds 5-87 Hong Kong dollars assassin droids waiting for her when she exits. She displays her lightsabers, which some reviewers have genuinely criticized. Her lightsabers are white, and it is light outside. We're unaware of what these critics would propose despite the fact that the color contrast isn't great. Should all conflicts occur at night? Or ought the showrunners to have chosen a different hue at random for Ahsoka's blades? No, this screenshot is from Jedi Survivor and not Ahsoka. Because it depicts a lightsaber's kyber crystal bleeding, unarmed Ahsoka killed him quickly. She treated the 2 red gemstones she pulled from his broken blade. Kyber crystals that have been healed turn white and shed white blades. Ahsoka is a combat expert with few challengers. She managed to survive 2 encounters with General Grievous even as a young Padawan. Numerous Jedi, including members of the Jedi Council, had been murdered by Grievous. Not Ahsoka though. Ahsoka faced Darth Maul on Mandalore after abandoning the Jedi Order, and she prevailed. Later, she would go up against Darth Vader, her former boss, and hold her own. Despite losing, she managed to hurt him. The character Huyang, who debuted on Star Wars, The Clone Wars, is back. For a very long time, this antiquated droid has assisted Jedi Padawans in building their lightsabers. He is merely doing his best to support the defunct Jedi Order in this situation. Despite the fact that Ahsoka departed the Order prior to Order 66, once again, David Tennant's voice acting for this character is superb. He offers comic relief, which is a welcome change from Ahsoka's more resolute intensity. Hera Syndulla is returning. Speaking about returning characters, she was one of the series' leading ladies and is currently a general in the New Republic. Despite having enormous shoes to fill, Mary Elizabeth Winstead did a fantastic job. We who were anxiously awaiting word of the show already understood that it will probably focus on the hunt for Ezra Bridger and Grand Admiral Thrawn. But Hera and Ahsoka's chat informed those who weren't up to speed. Despite popular belief, neither of them perished at the Battle of Lot Hal, as evidenced by Imperial remnant activity. Ezra might be alive as well if Thrawn is. Hera advises Ahsoka to visit an old friend named Sabine Wren in the meantime. The other former Star Wars Rebels cast member resides on Lot Hal as well. The sight of Lot Hal with a real budget is nothing short of amazing. Disney initially didn't think it would be worthwhile to spend money on premium Star Wars television when they acquired the rights to the franchise. The visual style and animation of Star Wars Rebels degraded as a result. This has changed, which is extremely positive. This explains why Clancy Brown was trending on the last of Twitter on Wednesday morning. He played the same part he had in Rebels. Ryder Azadi is now the governor of Lot Hal and is no longer a rebel leader or a political prisoner. Both humans and aliens may be seen standing behind him. And a significant mural is behind them. Sabine Wren doesn't show up. Sabine is a notable family-born Mandalorian. She is a gifted artist as well as a bright inventor. And she is far more complex than we realized. Sabine is stuck in the tower where a young Ezra Bridger lived on the streets before joining the Ghost's crew. She obviously feels that she let Ezra down. There is undoubtedly more to it than that. Ahsoka and Sabine's quest to find Ezra was among the final moments of Rebels. They were unsuccessful. Many of us have been wearing Electrum hats when talking about Ezra. Fan theories range from Thrawn actually being dead and Ezra assuming his identity, to Thrawn being Thrawn's opponent and Ezra ruling the Imperial remnants from a distance. In the meantime, Morgan Elsbeth has returned wearing more respectable attire. It really does like a diluted form of Mother Talzin's attire. She gives orders to Baylan, Shin, and Inquisitor Merrick while describing her background as a Night Sister. The Inquisitors were trained by the Grand Inquisitor and Darth Vader, but they are not pure Sith. The fact that one survived the fall of the Empire is a little surprising, but we don't think Merrick will last very long. What happened to Ahsoka and Sabine is one of the main questions for fans right here. The two-part opening barely mentions Sabine's at best shaky connection to the Force. We anticipate finding out more as the show goes on. Their encounter had a strong ex-girlfriend vibe about it. Many people truly ship that, therefore we'd love to see that come to pass. Did their relationship as mentor and student get in the way of a personal one? Or did the reverse take place? Or perhaps they're just offering crumbs to shippers. Nevertheless, very few Star Wars fans believe Ahsoka to be heterosexual, so, well, we'll see. Sabine consents to examine the enigmatic small ball, but she does so in her own way. In other words, she snatches it and brings it home. That's a major event for Star Wars since, At least in canon, no one has ever been into another galaxy. Sadly, this is also where Sabine is discovered by a squad of -87 Hong Kong dollars assassin droids. Shin Hati sent them. One of them escapes with the star chart, despite Sabine's ability to defeat them. Additionally, pursuing him exposes Sabine to a genuine danger. Ezra Bridger was the owner of the green lightsaber that Sabine is using. He left his second, even though it was his second. Later, she changed it. She also received instruction, first from Ahsoka Tano and subsequently from the late Kanan Jarrus, but she lacks some training. That is evident from her brilliantly planned battle with Shin Hati. Shin possesses a particular brand of tenacity. She is more than just a lightsaber and some bangs. The bad news for Sabine is that she is a master with the lightsaber as well. No match for Ahsoka. But Sabine is another story. She cuts Sabine's body with the orange blade at the conclusion of the first episode of the premiere. Her heart or spine are missing. And to be quite honest, characters like Vader and Maul have endured far worse, but if not for the second episode, the majority of fans would have spent a week speculating about whether Sabine was cast in this show only to be killed off right away. Not so. In the second episode, Sabine is seen getting better while being looked after by a medical droid and kept under Ahsoka's cautious eye. Baylan and Shin are on Cetos and have a map at this time. The discovery of new planets that are not deserts is quite wonderful. Having said that, we would really like to see more fanciful settings. Please transport us to Umbara. In any case, they lack the knowledge necessary to fully exploit the map's potential. But so does their employer. Sabine is still a wild genius, despite her wounds. When Ahsoka discovers a -87 Hong Kong dollars assassin robot still alive, she immediately beheads it. Sabine attempts to get into the droid's memory. It's great to see established canon being referenced again. During the Clone Wars, the Republic's armies made similar attempts using a variety of battle and strategy droids.